Hi lovelies! Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Maria and today's video is going to be my TBR Jar picks my August TBR, and I'm not going to say it. No, I am going to say it. I cannot believe we're in August already. This year is flying by so fast, but I mean, we say it every month, so no surprises. Yeah, basically today I'm going to be picking my TBR for August. Now, it is a little bit earlier in July for me, so it's around the 16th, and usually I do this video a little bit later, so around the 20th to the 25th, and I have a good idea of what I'm going to have read from my current TBR, and just to be completely upfront, I'm having a bit of a slumpy start to this month. I've read around 3 books this month so far, and I know for a lot of people that would be a great amount, but for me that's around half of what I usually read, and I just feel like I'm a little bit slumpy. I've been really busy. I am going to be going away, which is why I'm filming this early as well, so I think I've just had a lot of life going on, so 3 books is still quite good. Not judging myself too harshly for that, but it does mean that I'm just in a bit of a slumpy mood, so picking a TBR when you're slumping a little bit can be a bit difficult because I do just feel like there's nothing I really want to read, but hoping the prompts are going to give me a bit of inspiration on some of the books that I might want to pick up over the next month or so. And I do have a few new acquisitions that I bought last month as well that I'm really excited to get to, so hopefully the prompts fit those and I can get those on the TBR for August. But I think I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to pick 6 prompts so that I have 6 books on my TBR, because that does give me a good amount of room to mood read in around that and any buddy reads that I end up signing up to, including my own for my Tulips and Tales book club on Fable, which I haven't picked the book yet obviously because it is a bit earlier in the month, but it gives me a bit of wiggle room when I'm reading my normal amount of books, which is usually around 10 to 14 depending on the month. It gives me plenty of room to mood read and shuffle some of those in as well, so 6 prompts seems to be working pretty well in normal months, so I'm going to stick with that for now. And yeah, at the moment I don't have anything on my TBR. As I say, I haven't even thought about next month. I'm kind of concentrating on trying to at least read some of this month's TBR, so totally handing it over to the prompts to pick my reads. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the prompts. So as always, using the trusty TBR jar to give me the prompts. I have been kind of getting rid of the prompts as I've been taking them out, so hopefully we shouldn't get too many duplications in here. But I'll just give them a good shake. Oh, one popped out. I'm not going to pick that one, but just going to give these a good shake and we'll go in for our first prompt. Okay, we'll take this one. Okay, so a book that has a movie or a TV adaptation, and to be honest I usually struggle with this one because I don't have a lot of books that I've put in my TBR that I know if they have one, or because they're newer they obviously don't have one yet, so let me just have a look and see what I have and see if there's anything on here that qualifies for that. Okay, so I've had a quick look and I don't think I have anything on my shelves that kind of qualifies for that. I mean, there may be one that you're glaring at thinking, of course there's a TV adaptation for that or a movie, but I just haven't heard of it if there is, so I can't really pick anything for that prompt, so I'm just going to get rid of that one because to be honest I don't watch enough TV or movies to know if there is going to be one unless it's really glaringly obvious. So yeah, going to get rid of this prompt. Okay, so first prompt, take 2. A book with a green cover. Okay, that we can work with. I think I've got a few on here that we can pick out. Okay, so I've got a few options off my TBR and only one of them I think is really green, so I think it probably will be the one that I go with, but I did pick out the Ministry of Time, but looking at this cover I think it's a bit more tealy blue, so not a true green, so I think I'm going to put this one back. And then I did pick up the Grace of Kings as well because the front of it's kind of a mix between pink and green. I mean, it's a really pretty cover, but I'm not sure if it truly qualifies either, so again I think I'll put this one back just because I don't think it's truly a green cover. So the one I think I'm going to go for is this one, and it's Realm of Lore and Lies by Claire Wright, and this is one that I actually picked up recently at a book signing in Belfast, and she's a local author, Irish author, and this is an Irish fantasy story as well. I believe it is romantasy, and with this one all I really know is that it's to do with the Fae Realm. I think it's to do with the lore of Tiernan Og, and I'm guessing there's going to be some reluctant allyship from what I'm reading on the blurb, so don't really know a lot about this one, but I did pick it up just because she was a local author and I was wanting to get into a bit more Irish fantasy as well. So because this cover is pretty much all green, I think this is the one I'm going to go with for that first prompt. Okay, so prompt number 2. Okay, so the book that's been on your TBR the longest. So I've got a huge shelf of TBR books, but I'm just going to take it from this pile and the ones that are on my TBR cart rather than looking through all of my shelves. So let me just have a look here and see which one's been on here the longest. Okay, so looking at my TBR cart, I think the book that has been on there the longest, and probably in terms of my entire TBR, is Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. And this is a book that my sister did give me. She bought the box set and just didn't get on with it. She's not really a huge fantasy reader, so this is more dystopian, and it just wasn't really for her. So she ended up giving giving me the box set of, I think it's the first 5 books, and I'm pretty sure they've been on my shelves for around 2 years, and it's actually really good timing to get this one because I was thinking of unhauling the series because I just hadn't got to it yet and I just wasn't sure if I was going to pick it up. So perhaps this gives me the opportunity to do kind of a read it or get rid of it type of video where I can try and read books that I've had in my TBR for a long time, or if I don't end up reading them then I have to unhaul them. So this one, as I say, I think it's a dystopian novel. I believe it's following this young girl who basically kills anyone that she touches, and I believe she ends up getting brought into this organisation to be used by the government as a weapon or something like that. I believe there's multiple love interests. It is YA, so that's usual. You know, there's usually at least a love triangle in there. But I've heard some really mixed things about this one. I've heard some people that this is like God tier for them, and then other people that said it just really wasn't their cup of tea. So really intrigued to see where I'll fall with this one, but yeah, I think this is a good time to pick this one up. So for that prompt, I'm going to put Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi onto the TBR. Okay, and prompt number 3. Oh, this is an interesting one. So the strangest cover on your shelf. Not really sure what would categorise them as strange, but I'll have a look and see if there's anything that I think could kind of fit this. Okay, so being totally honest, there wasn't a huge amount to kind of pick from for that prompt, but 2 that I picked up were, they're not necessarily strange. I suppose it depends on how you categorise that, but I picked up Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mitsuki Chizumura. I'm not even going to try and butcher that. I'm just going to put it up to the camera so hopefully you can see. And as you can see, the cover's not necessarily strange, it's probably more interesting, so that's the only reason I've kind of picked that one up. And then one is a newer addition to my TBR, and it's Tusk Love by Thea Guanzon, and I mean, I think it's monster romance, so that in essence is kind of strange. Does that give me enough to kind of add this to the TBR? I've been really intrigued by this one since I picked it up. So can I use that prompt to add this on? I think I'm going to do that. I think this is more strange than the other one. The other one's just more interesting, but I think this is probably a stranger cover than the other one. But again, I don't really think either of these qualify. But yeah, this is one that I've recently picked up and I actually still have the receipt in there. But I believe this is kind of a cozy romantasy to do with a woman who I believe is going to have to marry to kind of help her family's position. She doesn't want to do that. She ends up running away, and her journey takes her into the path of this monster that she meets along the way, and I think they have to kind of reluctantly ally together to meet their goals. I honestly don't really know what this one's about. I just know that it's supposed to be quite cozy, and the thing that really sold me on it is underneath the dust jacket in this Waterstones edition you get like an alternative dust jacket, and it just looks like it's going to be a really fun read. It just looks like it's going to be quite cozy, really funny, a little bit goofy, and with the way I'm feeling at the moment I think that's going to be a perfect addition to the TBR for August. I don't think it's going to be too heavy or anything. I think it's just going to be a fun read, and I did like Thea Guanzon's writing from the Hurricane Wars, so I do have high hopes for this one. It seems to get pretty good praise from the people who have read it, so yeah, I think for that prompt I'm going to add Tusk Love by Thea Guanzon. Okay, so for the 4th prompt, okay, so a book with a hand on the cover. Oh, interesting. Okay, I think I do have a few on here just from looking for the other prompts. I think there are a few on here that would fit that description. Okay, so the 2 that I've picked off are The Night and Its Moon by Piper CJ. Now this one, obviously you can see there's 2 hands on there, so fits the prompt pretty well. This one I believe is to do with an orphanage that kind of has these fae there, but basically they are for sale, so kind of like an auction type of setting. And we start off with these 2 characters who are quite young and end up getting separated because of this, and throughout their lives they kind of are dedicated to trying to reunite, but there's obviously a war looming and there's just a whole load of political machinations I believe going on in this one. So we're basically just following them along as they're making alliances to try and get back to one another, and I haven't actually heard anyone talk about this one. It's just a cover that has really intrigued me every time I see it in Waterstones, and decided to pick it up actually quite recently, so this could be a good option. The next one is Curious Tides by Pascal Lecelle. Not too sure, but this is I believe a bit more celestial. I think this is kind of dark academia leading. It's set in a college, it's kind of lunar magic that it follows. This was actually sent to me by my good friend Clara as well, and this is one that I've actually had on my TBR for quite some time, and I think August could be a good time to pick this up because even though it's a bit more of a dark academia, I do tend to kind of lean into some of my more autumn reads in August because I'm just really excited for the autumn to come. So I think because this is older on my TBR as well, I think it would be a good time to pick this one up. And I do believe that the sequel of this one is out as well, and just to show you the cover, there is a hand on there in the sea, so it definitely fits the prompt. So yeah, I think for that prompt I'm going to pick this one. So Curious Tides by Pascal Lecelle. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's the name. Okay, so the 5th prompt. We're getting all the cover prompts today. So a book with a pretty cover. So it's kind of a free rein because most covers are pretty these days. You know, there's not many that aren't that nice. So just gonna have a look through and see if there's anything that I really fancy getting on the TBR and basically give myself a free pick with this one. Okay, so the one I picked for this one is Those Two Words by Ronnie Matthews. And again, this is one that I picked up at the book signing in Belfast. And this is an indie author. I believe she's been published for around a year now. And this is a contemporary romance series that she has. So I think there's 3 books out at the moment. And I believe a 4th one will be coming. But I think it's just kind of a small town romance. I believe it's set in Maine. And I think this first book is Friends to Lovers or something like that. So definitely think the summertime is the best time to read a book like this. Contemporary romance, I do tend to read those a lot more in the summertime. And had said that I wanted to get this on my summer TBR. So as you can see, this one has a really pretty cover. This is kind of the original cover that she came out with for this book. I'm not sure if this is still available on Amazon. There are different covers, which I will put them on the screen now as well. But this is kind of the original cover she came out with for her indie edition. So I just thought it was really pretty, and that was kind of half the reason I picked this one up. So I think this one fits that prompt really well. So for a pretty cover, I'm going to add Those Two Words by Ronnie Matthews. Okay, and for the 6th and final prompt, let's see if we can get away from the cover prompts. It's literally another cover prompt. So a cover the colour of the shirt you're wearing. So this is kind of a light grey / white, which I don't think I actually have any. I think most of these are kind of cream, apart from there is a Brandon Sanderson here. I'm not putting that on my TBR. I'm not putting it on there. That's very much going to be a mood pickup if I do pick that one up. So let me just have a look and see if there's anything else I can see that has that colour that I want to put on my TBR. Okay, so I'm probably shooting myself in the foot by putting this on my TBR for next month, and whether I'll actually pick it up or not is a different question. But I have had this on my TBR for quite some time, and I'm not sure if the camera will show up, but it's basically kind of a grey white colour, which is the colour of my shirt. So this is Malice by John Gwynne, and this I believe is a high fantasy. I believe it's based on Norse mythology, and that's all I really know about it. I believe it's kind of Game of Thrones-esque, and there's, you know, multiple different characters and families and things like that vying for power. I think there's a prophecy that's kind of looming over the lands, and essentially they're waiting for that to pass. And I'm guessing the characters that we follow will be a huge part of that prophecy in here. But I've heard some great things about this series, heard some great things about John Gwynne's writing, so really wanted to dive into this series. And technically it's probably the only book on my TBR shelves that matches my shirt that I'm wearing today, so it really is my only option, and it is a book that I've wanted to read for a long time and an author that I've wanted to try for a long time. So maybe it's a sign that I should definitely get this onto the TBR and finally pick up this series. Okay, so that's it. That's the 6 books I'm going to put on my TBR this month, and it's a pretty mixed bag. We've got a bit of high fantasy in there, a bit of contemporary romance, dark academia, dystopian, and then obviously a good bit of the classic romantasy for me as well. So just to give a bit of a recap on what we've got on there, we've got Malice by John Gwynne, Those Two Words by Ronnie Matthews, Curious Tides by Pascal Lecelle, Tusk Love by Thea Guanzon, Shatter Me by Tahira Maffei, and Realm of Lore and Lies by Claire Wright. So yeah, I'm really happy with those selections. I do think that I probably need a bit of variety to keep me out of getting into a slump. I need to have a bit of mood reading time as well, so most of those are pretty short. Other than Malice, the rest of them are pretty approachable as well. So I think that's going to be a nice, easy TBR for me to kind of follow next month, but hopefully I'm not going to be in a slump the way I'm feeling at the moment. I do think it's just because I've been pretty busy. August is a much quieter month for me, so hoping that this shouldn't be too much of a problem for me to get to. But yeah, really happy with those selections. But let me know what's on your TBR for August, if there's any books that you're prioritising, any new releases that you're anticipating. I haven't really thought about those for my TBR, but as I say, with the 6 books that I've picked, I should have room to pick those up as well. But yeah, definitely let me know what you're prioritising in the comments below. If you like this video, do remember to give it a like, and if you want to see more from me, remember to subscribe. I post 2 videos per week, and it's videos like this, so TBR jars, reading vlogs, book hauls, all good bookish things like that. Other than that, thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye!